What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, and Nintendo's the only game in town. They're the last game in town, apparently. So you guys probably know about the rumors recently about Microsoft going full third party, basically. And xbots are in complete meltdown. Sony ponies are in complete rejoice, which is kind of weird because for years and years, Xbox has no games, and then Xbox games are not very good, not quality like Sony games. Now, please give me your Xbox games. So that's the evolution of that argument. But yeah, there's just a lot going on with that. Obviously, they haven't come out and said anything specific, but we are privy to know that something's going on because Phil Spencer tweeted that they're going to give a business event update, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so I guess, because of all the fallout, like I said, there's just guys, selling their Xboxes and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And like I said, Sony guys are rejoicing because they're actually going to have some games maybe this year. But yeah, so Nintendo is the only game in town still. Now we still have to see what Nintendo's hardware is going to be as far as like the storage media. What kind of, if is it going to come on carts? What are those carts going to be like? Is it going to be full games? Because these games are getting bigger, and there's no great solution for it when it comes to physical media. For Nintendo, if they still want the portable thing, they obviously can't do a Blu-ray disc unless they have some cool, crazy technology that will, because the size of the Switch itself is wide enough to have a full Blu-ray going to it, but you got a bunch of moving parts when you do that, so that's probably not going to be viable. It's going to be either all digital or it's going to be like the Switch is. Switch 2 is going to be like the Switch is with carts. And those carts are going to be even more expensive than the Switch carts were because they're going to be bigger. Because based on all reports, Switch 2 is probably going to be around PS4 visuals, if not PS4 Pro, somewhere probably in there. The way, basically where Steam Deck is. So that's going to entail bigger games because I have a Steam Deck and I have a 1 terabyte one, and I got a pretty good amount of games on it, but a lot of them are older games that are smaller. But those newer games, they're in excess of 70 gigabytes, and 10 to 15 games of this new generation, and that storage is gone. So kind of sucks. But we're gonna see what they're gonna do with carts and whatnot. But yeah, like so where am I in this? Obviously, I don't really care if Microsoft does do that. I do care on one aspect, and that's why I wanted to make this video, because it's just like I care because I don't want Sony to be the only high end gaming company out there. Ponies care. I mean, that's kind of what they want. Even though they said they wanted competition, they don't really want competition. They want to be the only console out there. And I think, with Sony being the only game in town, basically, when it comes to the higher end visuals for a console maker, that's going to be bad for the industry. I just don't like. I never liked that idea. I mean, they're already raising prices on their online service. What do you think is going to happen when they have no competition as far as people, buying another high end box? They'll always have PC competition, but again, most console gamers don't care about PC. They won't care. Some will move over, but when you're a console gamer, you like the convenience of console gaming. So if they're the only ones out there, because Nintendo is obviously on a smaller tier when it comes to graphics and that kind of stuff, then that's, to me, that's not great. It's only going to get worse, especially when we go all digital, which is probably within the next 5 to 7 years, which is also depressing. So I think Nintendo will probably be the last ones holding out. And it's funny because for all this time, people have been talking about exclusives matter. Exclusives are the most important thing. And that hasn't really borne true when it comes to the statistics, because the top games that sell every year are major multiplats. Top games that people are playing every year are big multiplat games. So, these guys who talk about exclusives, when you look at their consoles, it's not really about their console exclusive, except for one. Nintendo exclusive do matter. They're the ones that make people go and buy their hardware, including myself. If they didn't make hardware, I'd still buy their games, just buy it on something else. And that will happen at some point, probably. But they're the last game in town when it comes to exclusives, selling their consoles. Because if you look again at the software sales for the other guys, their attachment rate is around 10% on Sony, even less than that on Xbox. So, and you look at Nintendo, where they have 10-year-old Mario Kart. Obviously, it has more features and more tracks now, but that game is selling over 60 million copies. That is insane. We're talking GTA levels at that point. Obviously, GTA is way past that, but games, don't sell like that. Single games on a single platform don't sell that way. That's what you expect to see for a major multiplat. So Nintendo can still keep their games off of other stuff because they have the fan base that will buy, tens of millions of copies of a game. And these other guys, they eventually get there sometimes. The sales drop, the cost of the game drops, and the sale price is lower. So some of those games will sell, past 10 million, but it'll be at a reduced price. Whereas Nintendo keeps their price pretty much, 50, $60 for the lifespan of the game. So they're literally the last. They're going to be the last dudes doing this. They're going to be the last company that sells exclusives only on their box until those numbers change. Sony's already putting their games on PC. It's only a matter of time, next couple of years or so, when those games will be day and date. When the console sales start to slow down, that's what's going to happen. So, a lot of people are rejoicing. The Sony fans are rejoicing over the Xbox fans. Xbox fans are in meltdown. But eventually your company is going to be there as well. It's going to be almost neck and neck as far as what Sony or Microsoft is doing. Sony will be doing the same thing. We've already seen the leaked documents of them basically copying what Microsoft is currently doing. They talked about how they're behind. So it's eventually going to happen. But yeah, if you care about exclusives, like true exclusives, you have to get that Nintendo box, yo. Because Nintendo is going strong, putting their games only on their consoles. Even the Wii U, bro. Like the Wii U, which sold barely 14 million units, it had game sales of 7, 8 million copies on 14 million units. So that's how good Nintendo games are. That's how strong the core audience is. If you look at the Xbox guys, they they're not strong. They bounce just because of rumors. They don't even have concrete evidence yet, and they took off. They're already, wigging out, canceling their Game Pass, and selling their games and selling their Xboxes already before Microsoft has made any official news. Now, I do think some of these games are coming. My thing is, I hear rumors about the Game Pass changing. If the day and date doesn't continue on Game Pass, I'm on Ultimate, so I'm on the highest tier. If you stop putting, your first party games into that service and you start trying to charge people when you made this promise of doing this, that's going back. That's where I see Xbox fans having a point. Because if you stop putting certain games into Game Pass, The talk is Call of Duty is not going to come to Game Pass. I don't see why not, because it's not like Call of Duty sales so crazy on Xbox anyway. But that would be an advantage to help Game Pass sales go higher. So I don't know why they wouldn't do that. But again, that's just a rumor. We're gonna wait for the official word. But yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't. Nothing's gonna change as far as I'm concerned. My only concern is that Sony is the only big game, a big, higher end graphic box game console out there with no other strong competition. And it sucks for Xbox fans who've been waiting for years to finally get major first party exclusives to only have Microsoft possibly give them away to other platforms. They've been doing it on PC, but to give it away to PlayStation, that's just that's iffy. That's kind of icky, but they're in the business to make money at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you care if Microsoft goes full third party, basically giving their games to a rival platform? I don't see it as that way when it comes to PC or on Steam and whatnot. Although I think Steam maybe hurt some of the console sales of Xbox, possible console sales. Putting games on Steam, that's just a less incentive for somebody to buy an Xbox. So if they cared about that, I think that hurt them as far as console sales. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening. And now, see you fools next time. Peace out.